Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this article that NAR put out. Good time for investors to unload. Mm-hmm. For all the people who've ever come on our channel and say, you just want people to buy houses. We actually don't. We want people to sell houses because that's how we make money. When you sell your house, we get a commission for doing that. You buying a house and then making a ton of money, over 20 years, renting it out or whatever, building equity. We don't get that equity. We only make money when you sell the house, right?
Right.
But what we're going to talk about is just some notes in this article. There may be a reason to keep your rental houses or personal residence, and there may be a good time to unload them. So we're going to talk about those. Okay. All right. First quote for the article. As rental rates slow, owners may consider returning inventory to market. What this means is selling it. Okay. Landlords have absolutely crushed it the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. They've had, except for just a few months of maybe not collecting rent. But even then, I mean, we're dealing with 50 properties. I think we got rent pretty much in all of them, right?
Right.
Eventually?
No, I mean, as far as people not paying rent, that's actually been happening more, not to us, but to other property managers that I communicate with.
Okay.
It's been happening more this year than during the pandemic to some extent. Because during the pandemic, people were getting a lot of stimulus checks, they were getting unemployment, they were getting other benefits. So not only that, but there were other programs to pay the landlords the rent, and those were all great. But those programs have ended. The stimulus has ended. Unemployment checks have also ended. So now people actually have to make their own rent payments.
Oh my God!
And so landlords actually have been having a tougher time this year, I think, collecting rents than in previous years.
Okay, but with that being said, this might be a time for somebody to say, hey, look, rental rates have kind of maybe gone up and they're not going to maybe go up. Depending on your market, you may be in a market where rents are not projected to go up very much. But even if they don't go up, if when you bought the house, you paid $250 for it and you were getting $1,250 a month rent, and so you're getting about $15,000 a year, you're getting about a 7% maybe cap rate, right? Now, the house could be worth $500 now because it could have doubled over the 10 years or so that you've owned the house. But you may be getting over $2,000 for it. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, you're getting over 10% on your original investment. Mm-hmm. So talk about that a little bit. Do people actually think about their initial investment? Because the thing about a rental is generally, the lowest cap rate or return you get is the beginning. Mm-hmm. And over time, it just gets more and more, which is why these people who have rentals don't ever want to sell them, because they go, oh, do you remember when we first bought that rental and we're getting $700 a month and now we're getting like $1,100 a month? And people are like, oh my God, you're at $400 more a month. It's like, yeah, because rents have gone up over the last 10 years.
Right. So, I think investors do. They think about the rent that they're getting, and they also think about appreciation. They also think about properties that maybe are not appreciating as quickly anymore, and maybe selling those properties and purchasing something else that is at the beginning of the appreciation cycle, and they've got more upside over a shorter period of time. So that there's a lot of that going on, which is why people do 1031 exchanges, right?
Right.
They go ahead and they sell one income-producing property and they purchase another income-producing property because the first income-producing property has kind of topped out, and they purchase another one that's at the beginning of that cycle.
Okay, so here's a quote from the article. Real estate investors have done well. Rents have risen and home price appreciation has been quite exceptional. In the past 3 years, the typical rental rate and typical home price have soared by 16% for rental rate and 35% for home price, respectively. Over the past 5 years, those figures are 25% for rents and 50% for home prices. These returns are occurring at a time of low-cost financing. First of all, people that I would say are unsophisticated about how real estate works try to compare it to the stock market. Oh, home prices will drop a little, so you should sell, which is you might do that with a stock that you own. You might say, hey, this stock's not going to do well the next couple of years. I'll click a button and the money's in my account, and then I can just go find some other stocks and put them over there. Real estate doesn't really work that way. So what are some differences between, because a lot of these people are going to be like, I don't care. Like personally, this is me speaking. I don't care if our rental properties ever go up in value or if our rents ever go up, because the amount of money, equity is still there, and then the rents are always going to come in.
Right.
Like we get the income every month.
Right. So here's the thing. Real estate is different than the stock market. The stock market has minimal fees to get in and out of a transaction, while real estate has substantial fees to get in and out of a transaction. Getting into a transaction is going to cost you 3 to 5%. Getting out of it, it's going to cost you 8% or better. So those are substantial costs. And you're thinking, well, why is it going to cost me that? Look, there are commissions, there are closing costs, there are transfer fees, there are escrow fees, there's title insurance, just all kinds of money going every which way. So those are all real costs. If you're financing, there's more cost than that. So those are all things to keep in mind. Those are not costs that you have for the same amount of value of transaction if you're in the stock market, which is why real estate is a long game. It's not let's trade real estate frequently. We trade real estate infrequently because the costs in of a transaction are really high.
Okay. Stocks can go to zero.
Yes.
Enron, right? Oh, hey, the accounting's been fake the whole time, or Blockbuster, right? Mm-hmm. You owned a bunch of shares of Blockbuster. This, Netflix came along and they laughed at them and said, no one will ever want to get discs mailed to them, right? Or, stream videos or whatever, right? Stock went to zero. But it's not likely your house is going to go to zero.
No, I mean,
not likely.
Not likely. No.
It burns down, you have insurance.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's also talk about dividends. Some stocks pay dividends, but most stocks don't pay any dividends. At least most of the stocks worth owning, like Tesla, stuff like that, if you invested a few years ago, those stocks don't pay any dividends. So you're basically wholly at the mercy of the darn dividend, mm-hmm. of the appreciation, because you don't have a dividend. And then the ones that pay dividends are usually, they potentially have a lot of downside, like utilities and things like that, because they can get hurt as technology changes.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So, there's a place for every investment vehicle, and there's a place for real estate, and that's another investment vehicle. Okay,
here's another quote from the article. It says, now it's time for investors to sell. Okay, home prices have already retreated in some markets, especially in the West, where the median price is 8% lower than a year ago. I don't know where they got this data, but it certainly isn't 8% lower a year ago in Vegas. We're actually up compared to a year ago in Vegas.
Right, but remember, real estate is hyper-local, and we don't know exactly what they're looking at. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that values have retreated, and that's fine. As an investor, you have to make a decision. Are you in it for the long run, or are you in it for the short run? If you're in it for the short run, real estate's probably not your game. If you're in it for the long run...
Crypto, day trading.
Yes. If you're in it for the long run, then this up and down thing is all funny money. It doesn't really matter. What matters to you is, what we used to call mailbox money. Now we just call bank account money, because it comes in via Zelle or whatever means is being deposited into your account. And that's what the name of the game is. The appreciation is just the icing on the cake.
What's interesting? I've always, people can own stocks that you're in and out of them. So there's really no, there's no loyalty. Mm-hmm. It's like these companies, you go in these analysts and says, we're long, Amazon, mm-hmm. right? Or whatever, right? And then they put these articles, they talk about Amazon and why you should buy it and all this stuff. And then you're just like, well, why do you care? Because you could literally go in and out of a stock mm-hmm. in a heartbeat, unless you have some kind of weird restriction on your shares, which most people don't do. But the one thing I've noticed with real estate is people tend to keep their rental houses a really long time.
Right, because it doesn't make sense. Like I said, the costs are just too high. You have to really understand real estate very well, and you have to have a plan. So let's say, for example, you have some older properties and you're looking at some new home subdivisions that are maybe that they're more money, but when you calculate what it's going to cost for you to put on a new roof and to do all kinds of renovations versus what you would get for the house, and now you're thinking, well, you know, it's close enough. It's going to cost me a little more money than doing those renovations would cost me, plus the amount of money that I would get for the house. So putting all that together to purchase the brand new house, but the brand new house is at the beginning of the appreciation cycle. It's a brand new community. I'm getting in the first couple phases. It's going to have 18 phases, and so I'm going to see appreciation over the next 5 years as they're building out the community. So that's making sense to me. So there are reasons why you would do that, right? But you have to be a sophisticated investor, and you have to do more than just kind of take a swing at it. You have to really think about what you're doing and the reason you're doing it, and does it make financial sense for you to do it? If you're going to do that, can you do a 1031 exchange? Because a 1031 exchange means that you have to identify the specific property within 45 days of closing on the one that you sold, and you have to close escrow on the new property within 180 days of when you sold the other one. And with a new construction, maybe that's not possible unless they have standing inventory. So there are a lot of moving pieces. So again, it brings back the whole issue of being a sophisticated investor and having a really good real estate agent that understands all of this and can help you and guide you through the whole process.
And the 1031 is just to avoid the taxes.
Right.
It's just basically you can't do that with stocks. Like you can't 1031 your Tesla stock to go buy NVIDIA because you want to go buy NVIDIA. So you sell it, you realize a gain.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You pay taxes on that gain, depending on how long you've had it, right? Short or long term, and then you go buy it. But with real estate, you could literally just say, hey, I've got this single family home in San Diego. I want to sell it and buy maybe 2 rentals in Vegas and have 2 rentals somewhere else.
Right. So that makes sense. And that's my point as far as having a good real estate agent that can help you through that process and can guide you and make sure that this whole transaction is going to work for you.
Okay. If you're in Vegas and you decide you want to sell your rental house, then our information is in the description of the video. You can find us. You can email us. You can text us. You can ask us questions. Anywhere in the country that you need to sell, we are the co-founder of a startup called Referral Cloud. We can help you find an awesome agent in that market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you want to buy something, please look us up as well. We'll be more than happy to help you out or find an agent in your market to help you out. We are very good at that, and we would love the opportunity to be of service to you because we appreciate our YouTube family and we want to do right by you. We appreciate you watching and liking the video, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, sharing the video, and leaving us love notes. Be nice to each other in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.